Hello, Angela Meiritz-Reid here, Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Christchurch, New Zealand. Today I'm sharing with you how I created this handmade card using the Blessings of Home bundle. I've made it as a slimline card so that it'll fit in this pretty slimline envelope that is in the current mini catalogue with Stampin' Up. There are two other colours in this collection. This one in the soft succulent and this one in the smoky slade. They are on page 53 of the catalogue. They're $21 for 15 envelopes. So you get 3 of each colour. The size to fit in here is 22 centimetres and 19. So then just fold it in half. I'll get started. So I've got my piece of basic white cardstock and I'm just going to fold that in half and just burnish along the end there. Nice sharp crease. And then the next thing I'm going to do is create this lovely blended background. So I've got my blending brush and I'm using the Balmy blue ink. So what I do with that is I take some ink from here and I pop it onto the lid and just take some off the brush without wasting it, just so I don't start too dark and just can build up the colour. And it does develop over time, your colour. Sometimes you think, oh my gosh, that doesn't look how I want it to look. It does soak into the paper. And I also like to start in different spots as well. It's a different pressure from different motions and places where you start on the page. Does build up quite quickly, so I just want to get a bit more colour out. Just I find circular motions work the best for me, but whatever you like to do to get your ink on the paper. Just want to get a wee bit more ink sort of coming down this way. You can always go back and add more once I've got the wreath done, and just can lay it on top and just see how it looks. I think that's quite a good amount out to the side there. And then what I've done next is flicked some of the Balmy blue ink, and I've used the Stampin' Right marker. I'm using the brush end, and just as little as or as much as you like, just to add a bit of interest. And then I've also added a bit of Stella, which you can't always see unless you pop it on a bit of an angle. Does give a little bit of a shimmer. Can always add a wee bit more too once the wreath is on. Okay, and then going to start to make the wreath. So what I like to do is create a little circle that it can be, all these bits can be adhered to. So I've got the 2 circle dies just fit inside each other. So I'll just bring my machine in. run that through. So hopefully I've got it, I think I've got it over a bit. So I haven't got it in the right spot. Hopefully it will still work. It has cut a little bit, but probably could have cut a slightly bigger square of basic white for that circle, but anyway, we'll see how we go. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just a bit of a gives a good frame for adding the die cuts to. And then what you want to do is cut the die cuts. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've used most of those sort of curvy foliage dies, and you want to do 2 sets. So I've got 1 set all ready to go, and I'll just bring my machine back in to do the second lot. So you just need little scraps, no big pieces, little scraps will do. So just pop those on here. Enough. So just lay those you'd think I didn't have a whole room full of paper, wouldn't you? These are just some scraps I had sitting by, so I thought I'd use them up. See? Right. Oops, now they're going to move. To get that on, and hopefully they'll stay well in place, and then just feed that through. Through. Just want to gently pull those out without ripping them. So you might not need them all, just use whatever you need to get the look. You want it to look fullish. Just poke those out, the last of those. And then what I usually do is just add a bit of glue. I find glue works well, because then if you change your mind where it goes, you can just pull it off. So just add a little bit of glue around the circle. And then you'll see some of these leaves go that way and some go that way. So you just want to build it up based on that. And it doesn't matter if you see the white underneath, because it it is just white on white, so it's not too bad. And you can leave those bits in or just poke them out if you don't want. Some of them look okay, and that one's a bit odd. And just keep on, sort of want to, you know, you can bring some in or to the outside as well, just to add, and just sort of tuck them in. While it's still wet, you can lift bits up and tuck bits under. And you just know as you go along, just have a bit of a play. And if you might need to add bits of glue, so got up and just add a bit of, and then just dip it in there so you can tuck it under. It does not want to go under there. And just, you can also add them from the back if you want to. Just going to tuck that just to make it look reasonably full. And so just, yeah, just keep on building it up. Sort of see areas that you think you want to add a little bit more to, and you will be putting the banner over, so you can hide little bits if you're not so happy with them. So just tuck that in there. Sticking out a little bit too much. You could lay it all out before you started if you wanted. I always find when I lift things up, then it's never quite where I thought they were. And that's okay. Probably yeah, I think that is okay. So I'll just pop those bits aside. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to add that onto my card, and I want to lift it up a little bit. So I'm going to just work out, I'm going to put the bow, put the bow down a little bit further this time, so I think that looks okay. So I'm going to add some of the mini dimensionals and just going to pop those randomly. You can pop them behind areas where they're not going to be seen. And just take the backs off those. And just work out, just thinking about, oopsie, now stuck. It's going to be stuck down before I want to have that So just work out where you want it to go. I want that. That's about where I want it to go, because that area is a bit flat, so I'm going to put the bow there. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is create the bow. Just want some of the white baker's twine. Just trim that off, and just want a glue dot. Just going to do it a bit lower on this one, and then just pop it onto there. Very good job of that, so I'm just going to pull that back off. Try that again. Oops. I didn't really measure the length and it was a bit uneven, so I'll just try that again. I don't want it too big. I always like to put my fingers in through there just to check the size of the loops so I can see that they're even. Just tuck that on there, that loop up there, loop down there, and then I'm going to, I'll just trim that as well, create the sentiment. So I've got the Have a Perfect Birthday and got Memento black ink and some white cardstock. Hopefully this will stamp. Sometimes I have a few issues with this stamp for some reason. Ah, not this time. Prove me a liar. So I just bring my trimmer in, so I just want to trim that up so you can see that, just keeping it fairly neat around there is about the right size for the wreath. I'm going to put it a bit lower down, so I might need to make it just that size for that, but we'll see. It's going to sit there, so I might just make it a little bit tighter. Need to cover the wreath just too much. Just a little bit, fraction off each edge. See, so I want that to go. I'm going to drop it down a bit lower this time. So I'm just going to put some more of the mini dimensionals on. I can just tuck that along that middle part of the sentiment. That will go inside the wreath. Just sit about there. Actually, it's quite high on that side because it's going over that bow. But so what you could always do. So what I'm doing is cutting these because I've so what I'm going to do is put an extra layer on those just to lift it up just a little bit higher above the just a double layer of dimensionals. Because that is a bit higher with the knot there. Yeah, that's better. Because it's straight. Hopefully. And then lastly, I'm going to add the gold pearls to this just to finish it off. So and I've popped 5 of those on here. So always just pick somewhere that I can sort of anchor it to. One, 2, 3, 4. And lastly, one up there. And that's it, finished. So I hope you enjoyed this card and that you might give it a go creating it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up please, and subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.